Brookwood was the kind of small Illinois town where traffic signals counted as big city excitement. On a crisp autumn morning, golden leaves drifted across sidewalks and cars rolled slowly along the main street. The local gas station, the corner bakery where Mrs. Harding made cinnamon buns, the second-hand clothing shop, the two grocery stores, they all carried the comforting hum of familiarity. It was against this quiet backdrop that 12-year-old Janelle Carter arrived for her first day at Brookwood Middle School. She stepped off the school bus at the cracked pavement outside school grounds and inhaled a chilly breath of October air. Her coat hugged her lean frame. In one hand she carried a worn-out backpack, the strap frayed, patched up with stitches. No bright stickers. No brand logos. Just plain fabric holding all that she had. Her dark hair was braided carefully into two long plaits that brushed down her back. Her eyes, big, alert, cautious, darted around the yard and the looming brick building. The look was one of someone trying very hard to be invisible. Inside the school's foyer, past rows of faded lockers and the noisy chatter of children, some excited, some indifferent, she paused. Students clustered around lunch tables, swapped lunch boxes, laughed as friends greeted each other. She stood slightly apart, watching silently. Her shoes were clean but clearly worn out, the kind bought secondhand, maybe at a thrift store or donated by someone kind. Her clothes were neat but unremarkable, a simple sweater and pants, plain sneakers. Nothing flashy. Nothing that said, "Look at me." A few students glanced her way. Some whispered. One girl nudged another and nodded subtly. But nobody approached. In the stream of noisy newcomers, she flowed quietly, tailing behind until a woman at the front desk, with gentle eyes and soft words, greeted her. "Good morning, sweetheart. You must be the new transfer. Come on in, honey. The principal's office is just down the hall." She nodded, swallowing hard. Her fingers curled around the backpack strap. Her heart beat a little faster. No one knew her story. No one knew where she came from. And for now, that was how she wanted it. She stood up straight and followed the secretary through the corridors, past locked classrooms, worn carpeting, muffled voices behind closed doors. Every step felt heavy. Every echo felt loud. At the door of the office she paused. She could hear voices inside, quiet, adult voices discussing paperwork. She took a breath. She adjusted the strap of her backpack. Then she knocked softly. "Come in," a man's voice responded. On the other side of the door was Principal Howard Ellington, an older man, maybe in his early 50s, with gray at his temples and a calm, steady presence. He looked up from a stack of files and gave a courteous nod. "Please come in," he said warmly. She walked in carefully, slowly, glancing at the neat rows of bookshelves, framed photographs of school sports teams, certificates of achievement, and an old globe on a table. Everything exuded order, calm, fairness. "Welcome to Brookwood," he said, sliding a blank folder across the desk. "I'm Principal Ellington. We got a notice that you were transferring in. What's your name?" She swallowed. "Janelle. Janelle Carter." He looked at the folder, then back at her. "All right, Janelle Carter. Let's get started. Could you tell me about your previous school? And do you have any files with you? Transcripts, teacher recommendations, contact information for guardians or parents?" She opened her mouth, hesitated, then shook her head. "Nothing," she whispered. I don't have them." He nodded slowly, eyebrows furrowing just slightly. "Okay," he said gently. "That's fine. We can work with what we have. I'll just need a few basic details. Emergency contact, home address, where you'll be living." She paused again. Her lips pressed together. Then she shook her head. "I don't have a stable address right now." The principal's eyes softened, but the gentle calm didn't leave his voice. "That's all right, Janelle. Let's make sure you're safe, okay? We'll figure out what you need for class and we'll find the right place for you. For now, you can stay on campus until we sort things out." The words hung in the air. She nodded, but inside she felt a pinch of fear. Fear of being exposed, fear of being moved again, fear of being seen as weak. He closed the folder. "I'll assign you classes soon. Welcome to Brookwood Middle. We'll do our best to make this a good place for you." She nodded again quietly. As she left the office, her heart pounded. She glanced back one last time at the man behind the desk. His face was kind, his eyes steady, but she didn't know if she could trust kindness. Not anymore. When she reached the hallway, the noise of students rushing to class enveloped her. She drifted toward the nearest empty locker, slid open the door, and dropped in the worn backpack, placing it carefully so nothing would show. Then she closed it and stood there, shoulders slightly hunched. She realized with a sour twist in her gut that this might not be the start of a normal school year. Maybe this would be another chapter in a long story of moving, hiding, surviving. But deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the pain, a small spark of resolve flickered. She would stay quiet. She would work hard. She would get through this. And she would survive. The sky roared as if it was mourning with her. Little Amma clutched her mother's torn handbag, rain soaking her thin dress. She didn't cry loudly, she was too tired for that. Her tears fell silently, mixing with the storm water running down the street. She stepped under the small wooden shelter outside the closed grocery shop, hugging herself for warmth. "Mom, what do I do now?" she whispered. Just then a pair of headlights cut through the rain. A sleek black SUV slowed to a stop. The door opened and a tall man stepped out, holding an umbrella. His suit was soaked at the edges, but he didn't seem to care. He approached her gently. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice was calm, but his eyes showed worry. Amma froze. She had seen him before, on TV and newspapers. He was Kwame Mensah, the billionaire everyone talked about. But he didn't look powerful right now. He looked human. "I am fine," she lied, shivering. He knelt to her level. "No child should be alone in the rain at this hour. Where are your parents?" That question broke her. Her lips trembled and she finally whispered, "My mom died this morning." The man's expression changed instantly, shock, then softness, then something deeper. Without hesitation, he removed his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "Come," he said quietly. "You're safe now." Amma didn't know it yet, but this moment, this single act of kindness, was about to change her entire destiny. The warmth from Kwame's jacket felt unreal, almost like a dream Amma might wake up from. She sat quietly in the back seat of the SUV, watching raindrops chase each other down the window. The leather seats, the soft glow of the interior lights, everything felt too perfect, too far from the life she knew. Kwame glanced at her through the rearview mirror, his brows still knitted with concern. "You haven't eaten today, have you?" Amma shook her head slowly. Hunger had become so normal she barely felt it anymore. He tapped the screen in the car. "Take us home," he told the driver. Amma blinked. "Home is home." "Sir, you don't have to do this," she whispered. Kwame turned fully to face her, his voice firm but gentle. "Listen to me. You're not going back out there alone. Not tonight. Not ever again until we figure something out." Amma looked down at her hands, small, cold, trembling. "But why are you helping me? You don't even know me." For a moment, Kwame didn't speak. His eyes softened as memories flickered behind them, memories he rarely allowed himself to visit. "When I was your age," he finally said, "someone helped me when they didn't have to. That kindness built the man I became. I'm simply passing it on." Amma swallowed hard. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. As the car turned into a long, gated driveway, the mansion appeared, massive, glowing, beautiful. Her heart thumped. This wasn't just a house. It looked like a world she didn't belong to. When the guards saluted and the gates opened, Amma whispered to herself, "Mom, if you can see me, I hope this is okay." Kwame stepped out first and held out his hand. "Come, Amma. You're safe here." For the first time since her mother's death, she felt a tiny spark, hope. Frail, fragile, but alive. The moment Amma stepped inside the mansion, her breath halted in her chest. Everything gleamed, polished floors, tall ceilings, soft golden lights that made the entire space feel like a warm sunrise. A marble staircase curved upward like something carved for royalty. She stood frozen, her shoes wet from rainwater dripping onto the glossy tiles. Kwame noticed her stiff posture. "You're safe. You can breathe here," he said gently, placing a respectful distance between them as he guided her inside. Amma nodded, though she still felt as if she might float away from the shock of it all. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon and citrus, a scent she associated with comfort, not survival. She followed him silently through the foyer, her eyes unable to keep still as they scanned the paintings, the sculptures, the hallways adorned with soft, glowing sconces. "This place is bigger than the entire building we used to live in," she whispered under her breath. Kwame paused. "What was it like? Before everything changed?" Amma hesitated. Talking about her mother felt like reopening a wound that never healed. Yet something about this house, its warmth, its quiet, made her want to speak. "It was small," she murmured. "But we didn't feel small. Mom made it feel like a place we belonged. She taught me languages every evening. Not because she expected anything from me, but because she believed I would need wings one day." Kwame listened with stillness, his expression unreadable but attentive. "And you learned 7? Amma nodded. "She said words are doors. The more of them you know, the more places your spirit can walk." Kwame smiled faintly as if the quote awakened a memory he hadn't revisited in years. "Your mother sounds remarkable." "She was," Amma whispered. "She truly was." He walked her into a spacious living room where a soft fire crackled in a stone fireplace. Thick blankets were neatly folded over the sofa. A tray of warm pastries sat on the coffee table. Someone must have anticipated their arrival. Amma's stomach growled embarrassingly loud, making her cheeks flush. "Go ahead," Kwame encouraged. "You can eat as much as you want." She sat slowly, picking up a pastry as though it might vanish if she held it wrong. One bite, warm, buttery heaven. She closed her eyes as her body sighed in relief. The simple act of eating felt emotional, comforting, necessary in ways she couldn't explain. Kwame took the armchair across from her, giving her space. "I want you to stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure out the next step." Her fingers tightened around the pastry. "And after tomorrow?" "We'll see," he said softly. "But I'm not letting you go back to the streets. That's not an option." Amma lowered her gaze. A mixture of gratitude and disbelief swirled inside her. "Why are you this kind?" Kwame chuckled quietly, though there was sadness beneath it. "Kindness is the least I owe the world. My father was not a gentle man. When I was young, someone saved me from him. Gave me a chance to reinvent myself. Everything I built came from that moment." Amma looked up, surprised. She hadn't expected him to reveal anything personal. "So now," he continued, "when I see a child in danger, I don't hesitate. I know exactly what helplessness feels like." Amma took another bite of pastry, not just for hunger, but to give herself a moment. She wasn't used to adults speaking to her with honesty. Most people talked at her. Kwame talked to her. "Do you live alone?" she asked, scanning the quiet house. "Mostly," Kwame replied. "My daughter visits sometimes. She's away at a program right now." "A daughter?" That surprised her. "How old?" 10. Amma's heart warmed. "Does she like languages?" A flicker crossed Kwame's eyes. "Hard to read. She struggles in school," he confessed. "Not because she can't learn, but because she's lonely. I work more than I should." Amma nodded. She understood loneliness better than most. As she finished eating, a woman entered, a housekeeper, neatly dressed. She paused, looking curiously at Amma but saying nothing until Kwame nodded. "This is Marlene," Kwame introduced. "She'll show you the room you'll be staying in." Amma stood slowly, wiping crumbs from her hands. "Thank you," she said to Kwame, "for everything." "You don't need to thank me yet," he replied, voice gentle. "Just rest. You've carried too much for too long." Marlene led Amma up the grand staircase. Each step felt unreal, like she was climbing into a life she wasn't sure she deserved. They reached a guest bedroom with soft cream walls, a large bed, and a window overlooking the vast garden behind the house. "If you need anything, press this button," Marlene said kindly. "You're welcome here." Amma nodded, feeling the weight of exhaustion settle over her. "Thank you." When Marlene left, Amma stood in the middle of the room, her breathing uneven. The bed looked so soft. Too soft. She sat on it, then lay down slowly, sinking into the blankets. For the first time since her mother's passing, she felt warmth, not from a jacket or a pastry but from the possibility of safety. Her eyes fluttered shut, but just as she drifted into sleep, she heard something. A sound, a whisper, a faint voice from the hallway. She sat up, heart pounding. Footsteps. Not Marlene's. Not Kwame's. Slow. Light. Approaching her door. Amma froze, listening with sharp, heightened fear. Then, a shadow passed beneath the door's crack. Small, child-sized, and completely still as if watching. Amma's pulse thundered. She slid quietly off the bed, her feet touching the velvet-soft rug. She stepped toward the door, each breath shallow, trying to see if the shadow would move. It didn't. Not at all. Just when she reached for the doorknob, a soft voice whispered from the other side. "Who are you?" Amma gasped quietly. The shadow shifted. The doorknob turned, and the door slowly began to open. The door eased open with a soft creak, revealing a small figure standing in the dim hallway light. Amma's breath caught as she stepped back instinctively, her fingers gripping the edge of the bedpost for balance. A young girl, no older than 10, stood in the doorway. She had curly hair pulled into a loose bun, warm brown skin, and eyes that seemed far too wise for her age. She wore pajama pants decorated with tiny stars and a hoodie that stated, "Dream Bigger." For a moment the two locked eyes, one startled, the other curious. I didn't mean to scare you," the girl said softly. Amma exhaled slowly, trying to steady her heartbeat. "You didn't scare me," she lied. "I just didn't expect anyone." The girl stepped into the room, her feet silent on the rug. "I'm Zara," she announced gently, as if afraid her name might be unwelcome. "My dad said a guest was staying here tonight, but he didn't say you were my age." Amma blinked. Zara. So this was Kwame's daughter. She looked younger than Amma expected, but there was something familiar about her posture. A quiet loneliness, the kind people carried when they were used to observing instead of participating. "I'm Amma," she replied. Zara smiled, then glanced around the room before focusing back on her again. "You talk differently," Zara noted. "Your voice, it sounds like you're from a bunch of places at once." Amma tensed but nodded. "I lived in different neighborhoods." Zara tilted her head playfully. "I thought maybe you were bilingual or something." Amma couldn't help the small smile. "Something like that." An awkward silence followed. Amma wasn't used to conversations with kids her age unless they were quick, defensive ones meant to keep others from bullying her. But Zara stood there without judgment, just quiet curiosity. "You're not tired?" Amma asked, gesturing to the hallway behind her. "I couldn't sleep," Zara admitted. "I heard voices downstairs earlier. Dad never brings anyone home this late. I thought maybe something happened." Amma sat on the bed while Zara lingered a step inside the doorway, unsure if she should enter fully. "You can come in," Amma offered. Zara brightened and stepped further into the room. "Dad doesn't like when I stay up late," she confessed, lowering her voice as if someone might hear. "But he's been working a lot lately. I barely see him except during breakfast." Amma nodded slowly. She sensed there was more beneath the surface, an ache Zara didn't have the words for yet. Zara walked to the window and peeked out at the garden. "You know what's funny?" she murmured. "We live in a big house, but it still feels empty sometimes." Amma understood that perfectly. "Sometimes big places feel even lonelier," she replied. Zara turned around, surprised by how accurately Amma captured the feeling. She opened her mouth as if to ask something, then paused. "What happened to you?" Zara whispered instead. "Why did Dad bring you here?" The question landed heavy, but not in a cruel way. Zara wasn't prying to gossip. She was trying to understand. Amma took a breath. "I had nowhere to go." Zara's expression softened. "Did something bad happen?" Amma looked down. "Yeah." Zara walked closer, her voice almost a whisper. "I'm sorry." Amma swallowed hard. She wasn't used to gentleness from strangers, especially kids. Zara sat on the edge of the bed beside her, her legs dangling. "Can I ask one more thing?" she murmured. Amma nodded. "Did you run away?" Amma's pulse quickened. I wasn't safe where I was. So yes, in a way." Zara nodded slowly as though connecting pieces in her mind. My dad helps people, she said softly. Sometimes he brings home kids who are hurt. He lets them stay here until he figures out what to do. He won't tell me details, but I know. Amma felt her chest tighten. He said something like that. Zara smiled. He's strict, but he's good. You're lucky he found you first. Amma didn't miss that last word. First. First, she echoed. Zara frowned, realizing what she'd said. Just, Dad doesn't trust a lot of people. He always says the world is fast to judge. Especially kids. Especially kids. Amma wondered how many stories were hidden behind these walls. Before she could ask further, Zara perked up suddenly. Want to see something cool? She whispered. Amma raised a brow. At this hour? Zara grinned mischievously. It's not trouble. I just want to show you something in my room. Amma hesitated, glancing at the door. She didn't want to break rules her first night here. Zara sensed the hesitation. Dad won't be mad, she assured. He's in his office. When he works at night, he doesn't come out until he's done. Amma bit her lip, then nodded. Okay. Just for a moment. Zara's eyes sparkled. She grabbed Amma's hand gently and led her into the hallway. The air was cooler here, filled with the quiet hum of a house wrapped in its own nighttime stillness. They walked down the hallway to a room decorated in shades of blue. Posters of constellations, planets, and motivational quotes lined the walls. Zara flicked on a small lamp, illuminating the cozy space without waking the entire house. This is where I practice languages, Zara said proudly. Amma blinked. You study languages? Zara nodded furiously, excitement bubbling. I'm terrible at them now, but I'm trying. Dad bought me books for Spanish and French, but I keep mixing them up. Amma's lips lifted into a smile. Language is like music. Once you hear it enough, your tongue learns the rhythm. Zara stared at her in awe. Do you know any? The simple question tugged at Amma's heart. She almost answered instantly, but something held her back. Fear. Not fear of Zara, but fear of exposing a part of herself she'd spent years hiding. Yet Zara's eyes were expectant and kind. A few, Amma admitted quietly. Zara jumped to her feet. Say something. Amma laughed softly. It's late. Just one sentence. Zara whispered eagerly. Amma inhaled slowly, then spoke a gentle phrase in French, something her mother used to say each night before she slept. Zara's jaw dropped. Say something else. Amma switched to Spanish, then Italian, then Arabic. Zara gasped after each one, eyes widening like she had discovered treasure. You're like a real-life superhero, she whispered loudly. Amma shook her head, embarrassed but warmed. No. My mom taught me. She believed words keep us connected. Zara placed a hand over her heart. I wish I knew as much as you. Maybe I can help you, Amma offered softly. If your dad doesn't mind. Zara lit up so brightly she almost glowed. Really? Amma nodded. Really? For the first time in months, she felt a thread of belonging, thin, fragile, but real. But before Zara could respond, footsteps echoed in the hall. Heavy. Slow. Adult. Both girls froze. Zara's eyes widened. Dad's not supposed to be out of his office yet. Amma stiffened. Who is it then? The footsteps grew louder. Closer. Then. They stopped right outside Zara's door. Amma held her breath. Zara whispered, Someone else lives here, someone Dad hasn't told you about. The doorknob rattled. The door began to open. The doorknob rattled, slow and deliberate. Amma's heart thudded in her chest. She and Zara exchanged a tense glance, silent but full of questions. Who could be at the door at this hour? The thought that it might be someone dangerous sent shivers down Amma's spine. Zara's hand found Amma's, gripping it tightly. Stay calm, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Amma nodded, though her stomach churned. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but she had nowhere to go, and she wasn't about to leave Zara alone. The door creaked open slowly. A shadow filled the doorway. Amma's breath hitched. The figure was tall, broad-shouldered, and moved with quiet confidence. He didn't immediately speak, and the girl's fear intensified. Every second stretched painfully long like hours. Then a deep voice finally broke the silence. "Are you girls all right?" Amma's tension loosened slightly. The voice was calm, not threatening. She studied the figure. It was Kwame Mensah, his expression filled with concern and a hint of exhaustion. He had left the office earlier, so why was he here now? Zara blinked, confused. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Kwame gave a small smile, though his eyes remained serious. "I heard footsteps in the hall. I wanted to make sure no one was disturbing you." He paused, glancing at Amma. "And it seems like someone already was." Amma's eyes narrowed. "Someone else?" Kwame shook his head slowly. "I don't think so. But the house, it's bigger than it seems. Sometimes sounds echo in ways that make you imagine things." The girls relaxed slightly, but the tension lingered. Amma sank back onto the bed, her mind spinning. Even in this safe place, her senses were still on high alert. The world had taught her to expect danger at every corner. Kwame stepped into the room fully and crouched to Amma's level. "I know this is all new and probably a lot to take in," he said softly. "But you're safe here. You won't be alone and you won't be sent back out there." Amma nodded silently, swallowing hard. Her throat felt tight as if the words she wanted to say couldn't escape. She wanted to believe him, she truly did, but years of mistrust and survival instincts made it difficult. Zara, sensing Amma's hesitation, leaned closer. "You're safe with us. I promise." Amma managed a faint smile. Zara's innocence and confidence were comforting, a small reminder that not everyone wanted to hurt her. Kwame stood and straightened, walking toward the door. "I'll leave you two to settle in for now. But Amma, if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you tell me immediately." Amma's gaze followed him as he left. The faint sound of his footsteps echoed through the hallway, fading gradually into silence. When he was gone, the room felt impossibly quiet, almost too quiet. Zara turned to Amma with wide eyes. "Did he always come check on you like that?" she asked softly. Amma shook her head. "No, this is new." Zara shrugged. "Well, I like it. Makes me feel, I don't know, safe." Amma nodded, a little comforted. For the first time in what felt like forever, she let herself relax slightly. But even as her body sank into the bed, her mind kept replaying the rattling doorknob, the shadow, the footsteps. Her mother's face appeared in her memory, tired, loving, whispering to Amma to stay strong. Amma closed her eyes, trying to let the fear dissipate, but it lingered stubbornly, like a shadow refusing to leave. After a few moments, Amma spoke quietly. "Zara, how often do you hear things like that? At night?" Zara shrugged again. "Sometimes. I thought it was just the house settling. But sometimes, I think it's like it's alive, you know?" Amma nodded slowly. She understood more than Zara realized. Living on the streets had taught her to notice the smallest sounds, the scuff of a shoe, the whisper of fabric, a door creaking, footsteps pacing. Every noise carried meaning, often life-saving. The two girls sat in the dim glow of Zara's lamp, listening to the quiet hum of the mansion around them. The house was massive, filled with rooms and hallways Amma couldn't begin to explore tonight. Still, it felt like the first time she could breathe without glancing over her shoulder. But just as she allowed herself a fraction of calm, a faint thud echoed from the hallway outside. Amma froze instantly, her muscles tensing. Zara's eyes widened. The sound came again, soft, deliberate, too heavy to be normal settling noises. "Did you hear that?" Zara whispered, her hand gripping Amma's. Amma nodded, heart pounding. "Yes." They sat frozen, listening as silence followed. Then, another faint noise. This time it was unmistakable. Something was moving closer to their door. Amma's pulse quickened. She glanced at Zara. "Stay quiet. Don't make a sound." The doorknob rattled once more. Slowly, purposefully. Amma felt the weight of the unknown pressing in, reminding her that even here, safety wasn't guaranteed. Then a soft, familiar voice called from the other side of the door, Kwame's voice but strained, urgent. "Amma, Zara, don't move." The girl stiffened. Amma's mind raced. What had triggered his urgency? What was coming? Before they could respond, a shadow appeared beneath the crack of the door again. This one moved differently. Faster. Intentional. Alma's breath caught. Fear, long dormant, surged through her veins. Something, or someone, was in the hallway, and it was coming toward them. The hallway felt impossibly long in the quiet of the mansion. Shadows stretched across the walls, cast by the soft golden glow of the night lights. Alma and Zara crouched on the floor, backs pressed against the edge of the bed, listening to the faint scuffing of footsteps outside the door. The air was thick with tension. Every heartbeat felt like it echoed louder than the last. "What do we do?" Zara whispered, her voice trembling slightly. She clutched Alma's hand as if it were a lifeline. Alma didn't answer immediately. She strained her ears, trying to identify the sound, its pace, its rhythm, the weight behind it. It wasn't Kwame. He had warned them to stay put, and his urgency had a warning in it that Alma could feel in her bones. The sound was deliberate, measured, and there was a coldness to it that made her stomach twist. Then came a soft click. The door handle rattled again, slower this time. The shadow beneath the crack moved closer. Alma's pulse jumped. She could feel Zara trembling beside her, tiny but fierce. Alma took a slow, deep breath, trying to steady herself. She couldn't let fear paralyze her, not now. "You need to calm down," Alma whispered to Zara, though her own voice trembled. "We just have to wait. Whoever it is, they don't know we're here." Zara nodded, eyes wide, her small body tense. Both girls held their breath, listening to the soft, muffled noises of movement on the other side of the door. The mansion, usually comforting in its grandeur, now felt like a maze of danger, beautiful but treacherous, filled with unknowns. The footsteps stopped. Silence. The hallway seemed to stretch into eternity. Then a whisper, a voice so low it could have been imagined, slipped beneath the crack in the door. "Are you girls here?" Alma's throat tightened. It wasn't Kwame. The voice was unfamiliar. Quiet. Controlled. It carried a hint of menace, subtle but unmistakable. Alma glanced at Zara. Her face mirrored Alma's own fear. "Don't answer," Alma whispered. Not a sound. The voice spoke again, this time a bit louder. "I know you're here. Come out." Alma's mind raced. Who could it be? And why were they here? She couldn't think logically. Her survival instincts were screaming. She could hear the faint shuffling of movement outside the door again. Then, unexpectedly, the soft click of another door opened somewhere in the hallway. Footsteps approached rapidly from the far end. Alma froze, holding Zara closer. "Dad." Zara whispered, hope and fear mingling in her voice. Alma didn't answer. She didn't dare. The footsteps were too close now, and whatever was approaching wasn't Kwame. She could feel it. Something about the energy was different, heavier, more deliberate. The shadow appeared under the door once more. Alma felt her heart leap into her throat. Whoever was outside was watching, waiting, and they knew someone was in the room. Suddenly the door burst open. Alma instinctively pulled Zara back, shielding her. The figure that stepped in wasn't threatening, not yet, but it filled the room with a presence that made Alma instinctively flinch. It was Marlene, the housekeeper. Her eyes were wide, her hands gripping a set of keys as if they were a weapon. "Girls, what are you doing out of bed?" she exclaimed, her voice whisper-sharp, carrying urgency. "There's someone in the house. Kwame's office called me. He said to check the floors." Alma exhaled a shaky breath. Relief and tension mixed in her chest. It wasn't a stranger, it was someone who worked here. Someone meant to protect them. But before Alma could process the relief, Marlene's expression shifted. Her eyes narrowed as she looked past the girls toward the hallway. "You shouldn't have been alone," Marlene hissed, voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "Come with me. Now." Zara grabbed Alma's hand tight and followed Marlene into the hallway. The mansion, bathed in soft nightlight moments ago, now felt like a labyrinth filled with unseen threats. Every door they passed, every shadow cast by the lights, seemed alive. They moved quickly but silently, guided by Marlene's confident pace. Alma's heart pounded. Every instinct she had screamed that danger was close, that even in this house, nothing was simple or safe. As they turned a corner, they paused. From down the hallway, faint murmurs could be heard, voices talking in low tones, almost imperceptible. Amma strained to hear. Words like child and they're here floated through the air. Her stomach dropped. These weren't friendly voices. These were people looking for someone like her. Amma pulled Zara closer, whispering, "Stay quiet. Don't make a sound." The murmurs grew louder, closer. The hallway seemed to shrink as shadows moved in the distance. Amma realized with a cold twist in her gut, the house, for all its safety and luxury, was no longer just a refuge. It had become a stage for something bigger, something she wasn't yet ready to face. Marlene halted abruptly near a tall bookshelf. "Here," she whispered, pushing aside a panel. Behind it was a small, narrow door leading to a hidden stairwell. "This will take you to the basement. Stay there until I can see what's going on." Amma's pulse surged. A hidden stairwell? She glanced at Zara. The girl's wide eyes mirrored her own fear and curiosity. "Is it safe?" Zara asked. "No one can promise that," Amma admitted softly. "But we don't have another choice." They slipped through the narrow door, descending the dim staircase. The air grew cooler, damper, and filled with the faint scent of old stone. Amma's nerves stretched tight as every creak and echo amplified in the darkness. At the bottom, a faint light glimmered from a small basement window. It was barely enough to see the rough concrete walls and shelves stacked with forgotten boxes. Amma and Zara huddled together, hearts racing. From above, the faint murmur of footsteps continued. Voices whispered urgently, moving along the floors above them. Amma's mind raced. Who were they? Why were they here? And most importantly, did Kwame know how close danger had come? Amma took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. One thing was clear. Survival meant staying silent, staying hidden, and staying vigilant. But even in the darkness, a tiny thought flickered in her mind. This was only the beginning. A soft thump from above made Amma freeze. The footsteps stopped abruptly. Then, faintly, she heard a voice, low, calm, and unmistakably familiar. "Don't worry," it said. "I've got you." Amma's heart skipped. Relief surged, but fear lingered. Someone was here. Someone was watching. But for the first time she realized she wasn't completely alone. And yet, as the echoes faded, a shadow passed over the small basement window. Someone, or something, was waiting. The night had settled into a heavy silence, but outside, the first whispers of winter were arriving. Snowflakes drifted lazily past the mansion's tall windows, ghostly and soft, covering the perfectly manicured gardens in a thin, shimmering white layer. Amma and Zara sat huddled together in the basement, their breaths forming tiny clouds in the cold air. Every sound above, the creak of floorboards, the murmur of distant voices, kept them on edge. "I can't believe it's snowing already," Zara whispered, her eyes wide as she pressed closer to Amma. "It's supposed to be October." Amma gave a faint smile, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Nature doesn't ask permission," she said softly. Her voice was low, careful, as if speaking too loudly could summon danger from above. The basement was dimly lit by a small lamp near the wall, casting long shadows that danced across the rough concrete. Amma's mind wandered briefly to the warmth of Kwame's office earlier, the fire, the soft lights, the sense of safety, and she realized how far away that feeling now seemed. The house that had promised refuge now felt like a labyrinth. A sudden noise made both girls jump, a soft thump from above like something heavy being set down. Amma held her breath. The sound repeated, closer this time. "Did you hear that?" Zara whispered. Amma nodded. "Yes." "Stay quiet." From the darkness above, a soft light flickered, moving along the basement walls. Amma realized with a sudden pang that someone was inspecting the basement, someone who could see them at any moment. She grabbed Zara's hand tightly. The flicker of light paused near a corner, then moved again, slower this time. Amma felt her pulse thundering. Whoever it was, they weren't in a hurry, they were searching, calculating. Suddenly, a low voice called from the stairs. "Girls, it's me, Kwame. Don't move." Relief surged in Amma's chest, but it was short-lived. The voice was calm, controlled, but there was an edge to it that sent chills down her spine. Someone had intruded into the mansion. The snow outside may have been serene, but inside, danger was very real. Kwame descended the stairs carefully, his eyes scanning every shadow. Amma and Zara remained huddled, holding their breaths. His presence was a shield, yet the threat above made them painfully aware that safety was temporary. "What happened?" Amma asked softly, barely moving her lips. "There's someone in the house," Kwame explained, his voice steady but serious. "I don't know how they got in, but they're looking for something, or someone. We need to stay hidden." Amma's stomach tightened. "Are we in danger?" Kwame's jaw tightened and he didn't answer immediately. Instead, he scanned the room, checking every possible entrance. "Possibly," he said finally. "But that's why you're here. In the basement. Safe. For now." Zara shivered. "I hate hiding." Amma gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. She knew that feeling all too well, the constant movement, the fear that followed you like a shadow. Even in a mansion with security cameras, alarms, and gates, fear could still slip in. Kwame knelt in front of them, lowering his voice. "I need you to trust me completely. Do not make a sound, and do not leave this room until I tell you it's safe." Amma nodded, swallowing hard. The words felt familiar yet strange. Trust. She wasn't used to being asked to rely on anyone fully. She'd learned early that survival meant depending on no one but herself. The sound of footsteps paused just above them, heavy and deliberate. Amma's pulse raced. Each second stretched painfully long, the sound of snow pressing against the windows outside mingling with the tension inside. "Dad," Zara whispered, "do you think they know we're here?" Amma glanced at her, whispering under her breath, "I don't know, but we have to assume they do." The footsteps moved again, slower this time, like someone pacing. Amma's hands trembled slightly as she clutched the edge of the wooden crate they were hiding behind. The basement that had seemed so secure minutes ago now felt like a trap, walls closing in with every echo above. Then, unexpectedly, the creaking of the stairs stopped. Silence fell. The girls could hear their own hearts pounding, the faint whisper of their breaths in the cold air. A soft scraping sound followed, metal against stone. Amma's eyes widened. The intruder wasn't just wandering, they were searching, probing, testing the basement for signs of life. "Stay close," Amma whispered to Zara. The little girl pressed against her, eyes wide, trembling. Amma wished she could make her feel safe, but the truth was, even with Kwame here, nothing was guaranteed. A sudden noise above made them both jump. A faint crash, followed by hurried footsteps retreating. Amma held her breath, unsure if the intruder had left or was circling around to another entrance. Kwame's voice came from the stairs, calm but commanding. "They're gone for now. But we're not out of danger yet. I need you to stay right here until morning. I'll check every floor before we leave." Amma nodded, feeling the weight of exhaustion settle over her. Her muscles ached from tension. Her mind spun with possibilities. Why had someone broken in? Were they after her? Was it her mother's past catching up to her? Zara yawned quietly, leaning against Amma. "I wish Mom was here," she murmured. Amma's chest tightened at the words. She knew the feeling all too well, the longing for a parent who could make the world right again. Her own mother had sacrificed everything for her safety, and even now, Amma carried that memory like both a shield and a burden. The basement felt slightly warmer as they huddled together, but the shadows still lingered in the corners. Outside, snow continued to fall silently, covering the world in white, masking the threats that moved unseen. Amma realized that even in this mansion, even with Kwame's protection, the past and danger were never far away. Her thoughts drifted to the languages her mother had taught her: French, Spanish, Italian, Arabic, Russian, German, and Japanese. Words had always been her lifeline, a way to navigate uncertainty and confusion. Maybe she thought it was time to use them again. Not just to communicate, but to survive. She pressed her lips together and whispered to herself, almost like a promise. "I will survive. I will be stronger than this night. And I will protect anyone who can't protect themselves." Zara stirred beside her, murmuring something unintelligible in her sleep. Amma smiled faintly, feeling a fragile thread of hope in the darkness. But just as she allowed herself a moment of relief, a faint sound echoed from above, a soft, deliberate tapping against the window, like a finger tracing a message in the snow. Alma's pulse jumped. She froze, straining her ears. The tapping continued, slow and rhythmic, deliberate. Someone, or something, was outside watching, waiting. Alma swallowed hard. She realized with a sinking feeling that this night was far from over, and that whoever was out there wasn't going anywhere. Morning came slowly, as if the sun itself was unsure whether it was safe to rise. Snow coated the mansion grounds in a thick, untouched layer, sparkling beneath a pale sky. Alma's eyes burned from lack of sleep. She had barely closed them through the night, listening for footsteps, waiting for another sound from the intruder who had slipped away into the darkness. Kwame returned to the basement just before sunrise, his expression tight, exhausted, and unreadable. He had checked the security footage, the windows, and every locked door. Yet somehow the break-in remained a mystery. "You're both safe," he said, though his tone failed to carry the confidence the words demanded. Alma nodded, though her thoughts churned. Safety felt temporary, like a blanket full of holes. Zara rubbed her eyes. "Can we go upstairs now?" "Yes," Kwame said, extending his hand to her. "But stay close." The mansion felt different that morning. Every hallway seemed darker, every shadow seemed to hold secrets. Alma followed quietly behind, her mind replaying the rhythmic tapping she heard on the window just before dawn. She hadn't told Kwame about it yet. Something inside her whispered that she should wait. In the kitchen, one of the security staff handed Kwame a sealed folder. He opened it immediately, scanning the paper inside with a frown that deepened by the second. "What is it?" Alma asked. Kwame hesitated. "Nothing you need to worry about right now." Alma raised an eyebrow. "That doesn't sound convincing." Kwame didn't answer. Instead, he tucked the paper into his coat pocket and excused himself to the study. The moment he left, one of the house staff, a kind woman named Sandra, leaned closer to Alma and whispered, "He's been up all night checking the cameras." Whoever broke in wasn't alone. There were footprints in the snow, 2 sets. Alma's stomach tightened. "Do you know who they were?" Sandra shook her head. "No. But I've worked here long enough to know when something is wrong. And Mr. Kwame hasn't looked this worried in years." Alma's pulse picked up. She needed answers. She needed clarity. And she wasn't going to get it standing in the kitchen pretending everything was normal. So when Kwame disappeared into his study, she followed quietly and stopped outside the door. She didn't knock. Instead, she listened. Inside, he was on the phone. "I don't care what the report says," he muttered. "It wasn't random. Someone knew exactly where to enter. No, nothing was taken. That's what's strange. Yes, I'll handle it myself." Alma leaned closer, her breath caught in her throat. "Handle what?" Kwame ended the call, and a moment later the study door opened. Alma stumbled forward slightly, caught off guard. He stared at her. "You're up early." "So are you," she replied. Kwame sighed, motioning for her to come inside. "I'm guessing you want answers." Alma stepped into the study. The fireplace was lit, but it didn't warm the knot forming in her chest. "Yes," she said. "I deserve to know what's happening. Zara deserves to know." Kwame rubbed his forehead. "I'm trying to figure out how to explain this without scaring you." "We've already been scared," Alma said softly. "The truth won't make it worse." He hesitated, then finally nodded. "Fine. There's something you should see." Kwame unlocked a drawer in his desk and pulled out a thick file. Alma noticed the front label had her name on it. Her real name. Not the shortened version she used at school. Not the one she wrote on forms. Her full birth name, one she hadn't spoken aloud in years. She froze. "How do you have that?" she whispered. Kwame took a breath, choosing his words carefully. "I didn't know this file existed until this morning. One of the security staff found it on the porch. No footprints. No tracks. As if someone placed it there during the storm." He slid the file across the desk toward her. Alma's hands shook. Inside were documents. Not old ones, recent ones. Photographs she didn't know existed. Notes written in a language she recognized instantly. Russian. A language her mother taught her to read at age 7. Alma scanned the papers quickly, her heart racing. Some of the pages had names she had never heard. Others had locations she recognized: New Jersey, Toronto, Minneapolis. But one sheet made her hands turn cold. It contained a list of people. At the top, Amma Boateng, status located. Her eyes widened. What is this? Who wrote this? Kwame's expression hardened. I was hoping you could tell me. She flipped another paper. This one was worse. It was a profile containing her mother's photograph, taken years before. But underneath the picture was a line that stopped Amma's breath. Subject: skilled linguist. Former asset. Connection: daughter. Asset? Former? Amma felt the room tilt. My mother never. She wasn't. She couldn't finish the sentence. Kwame leaned forward. Amma, I need you to think carefully. Did your mother ever tell you about her work? Did she ever mention people looking for her? Anyone from her past? Amma blinked hard, memories rushing in. Her mother, always alert, always checking windows, always moving jobs every year. Her warnings about languages being powerful tools. Her insistence that Amma master everyone she taught. My mother wasn't a criminal, Amma said sharply. She wasn't. I never said she was. Kwame's voice softened. But this file wasn't created by ordinary people. Whoever left it behind, they know things normal individuals shouldn't. Amma stared down at the papers again. A symbol at the corner caught her eye, an emblem she recognized. She had seen it once, etched into a notebook her mother burned before they moved to Philadelphia. The symbol meant danger. Her mother had told her never to speak about it. Amma, Kwame said gently, if someone wanted to harm you, they wouldn't leave these papers behind. They would have taken you already. She swallowed hard. So what does this mean? It means someone wants you to know something, he said. Someone wants you aware. But why? Kwame hesitated. Because I think the break-in wasn't random. I think they came for this. He tapped the folder. And when they couldn't find it, they left it for you instead. Amma felt her pulse hammering inside her chest. Someone had broken into the mansion. Not to steal, but to deliver. The snowstorm wasn't a coincidence. The file wasn't a warning. It was a message. But from who? And why now? Before she could ask more, a loud beep echoed from the hallway, followed by a voice from the intercom system. Motion detected at the east gate. Amma and Kwame locked eyes. Someone was back. And this time they were not hiding. The mansion's alarm echoed through the hallways like a warning cry. Amma's heart slammed against her ribs as the intercom repeated the message. Motion detected at the east gate. Kwame moved with a pace Amma had never seen before, swift, controlled, and dangerous. He pressed a series of buttons on the wall panel, pulling up a split-screen display of surveillance feeds. Amma stepped closer, holding her breath. The cameras captured the heavy snowfall outside, but at the far edge of the property, just beyond the gate's metal bars, a shadow stood unmoving. Not pacing. Not hiding. Standing still as if waiting. Zara wandered in, rubbing her eyes. Why is the alarm beeping? Kwame instantly scooped her into his arms. You're fine. Don't look at the screen. But it was too late. She caught a glimpse of the figure before he turned her away. That person is just standing there, Zara whispered. Why aren't they moving? Because they want to be seen, Amma said quietly. Kwame set Zara down gently. I need you to go upstairs. Stay in your room. Keep the door shut. Zara nodded nervously and ran up the stairs. Amma continued studying the monitor. They're waiting for us to react. Kwame activated the zoom function. The camera sharpened. The figure was wrapped in a dark winter coat, hood pulled low. A scarf covered part of the face, but Amma could see the eyes, focused, steady, unfazed by the cold. Do you know them? Amma asked. No, Kwame replied. And I don't want you anywhere near that gate until I do. He motioned her toward the stairs. Go with Zara. Amma didn't move. No. My name is on that file. This has to do with me. Kwame clenched his jaw. That doesn't mean you walk toward danger. I'm not. Amma pointed at the screen. I just need answers. Kwame studied her for a moment, really studied her. Then he did something she didn't expect. He handed her a small listening earpiece from his desk drawer. "Stay behind me," he said. "And you follow every word I say." Amma nodded. She didn't trust her voice to steady enough for a reply. They approached the east gate through the back hallway that led to the enclosed walkway. Snow beat against the glass, and the wind howled like a furious spirit. Amma's footsteps echoed beside Kwame's, her breath sharp and shallow. When they reached the door leading out to the yard, 2 security guards stood ready. Kwame signaled for them not to step outside yet. "Open the speaker channel," he ordered. One guard tapped a code into a handheld device, and a crackle of sound filled the corridor as a 2-way audio system connected to the gate. Kwame pressed the button. "State your name." The figure outside didn't flinch. Their voice came through deep, steady, and strange, tinged with a faint Eastern European accent. "I'm not here to fight," the stranger said. "I'm here for the girl." Amma's breath froze. Kwame's hand curled into a fist. "You won't go near her." The stranger lifted their hands, palms open. "I am not your enemy." Amma stepped closer to the window, her pulse racing. "Who are you?" she called out before Kwame could stop her. There was a long pause. The only sound was wind scraping against metal. Then the stranger lifted their head slightly, revealing a glimpse of sharp, observant eyes. "I knew your mother," the figure said. Amma's entire body went cold. Kwame's head snapped in her direction. "Don't respond." But she couldn't stop. "How? Why are you here?" The stranger lowered their hands slowly. "Your mother wasn't who she pretended to be, and you're in danger because of that." Amma pressed a hand against her chest. "Danger from who?" The stranger exhaled sharply. "From the same people who chased her for years. They found her, and now they've found you." Kwame stepped forward. "If you knew her mother, prove it." The stranger bent down and placed something in the snow. A small, weatherproof envelope. Inside, the figure said, is a picture. "She told me to give it to her daughter if anything happened." Amma's throat tightened. Her mother's secret seemed to multiply every hour. Kwame nodded to the guard. "Bring it inside." Carefully. One guard slipped out the side door, sprinting across the snow. The stranger didn't move. Not even a twitch. When the guard returned, he handed the envelope to Kwame. "It's sealed." Kwame opened it. Inside was a single photograph. Amma stepped closer. Her heart stuttered. It was a picture of her mother, years younger, standing in front of a damaged building. She was holding a child Amma had never seen before. A little boy. Amma's voice shook. "Who is that? Who is he?" The stranger outside answered before Kwame could. "Your brother." Amma staggered backward. "My what?" The stranger nodded. "He disappeared the same night your mother ran. She never told you because she believed he would be safer without you knowing." Kwame whispered, "This is the first I've heard of any of this." Amma tried to breathe, but the air felt thin. "Why tell me this now?" "Because," the figure said, "the people searching for you, they found him first." Amma felt a wave of nausea. "Is he alive?" The stranger hesitated. Kwame stepped in front of Amma, blocking her view of the screen as if shielding her from a bullet. "If you've brought danger to this house, you'll regret it," he warned. But the stranger bowed their head. "I came to warn you, not harm you." Snow whirled around them like shards of glass. Amma's voice cracked. "Please, tell me. Is my brother alive?" The stranger lifted their gaze at last. "Yes," the figure said. "But not for long, unless you help me." Before anyone could respond, the east side floodlights suddenly flickered. Once, twice, then went black. The monitors cut out. Every camera feed turned to darkness. And the stranger's voice came through the intercom one last time. "They're here." The connection died. The mansion plunged into darkness so suddenly it felt like the world exhaled and vanished. Amma's breath hitched as the last flicker of the monitors died. Only the faint emergency lights along the floor glowed in thin strips, casting eerie shadows that stretched across the walls like long-reaching arms. Kwame didn't freeze. He reacted instantly. "Guards, lockdown protocol now," he ordered. 2 security officers sprinted down the hall, radios crackling with static. Another tried to reboot the monitors, but the screen showed nothing but a deep, swirling gray, like someone had jammed the entire system in one sweep. Amma grabbed the edge of the wall for balance. What does this mean? How are they here already? Kwame checked his phone. No signal. They cut the power and scrambled the network. This isn't random. This is coordinated. Amma's heart hammered. Then they're coming for me. Kwame turned sharply, gripping her shoulders. You are not alone. And no one is taking you. But Amma saw something in his eyes, a flicker of fear he couldn't hide. A fear not for himself, but for her. A guard approached. Sir, the backup generator is offline. We're running strictly on emergency lights. Impossible, Kwame muttered. The generator is located in a secured chamber. No one gets in without a... A heavy thud echoed from somewhere deep in the house. Amma jumped. Another thud. Louder. Closer. The guard's hand moved toward his holster. They're inside the property. Kwame turned to Amma. Stay behind me. Not a step away. She nodded, though her legs felt like they might collapse beneath her. They moved through the darkened hallway, guided only by the faint lines of emergency light along the floor. Amma kept close, listening for anything. A footstep, a breath, a whispered command in a language she might understand. The stranger at the gate said they had found her brother. They said he was still alive. And now they were here. Amma's pace quickened. We have to go to the safe room. Kwame shook his head. No, it's too predictable. They'll check that first. Then where do we go? Before Kwame could answer, the house alarm triggered again, short, sharp beeps indicating interior breach. Amma's stomach twisted. Another guard ran toward them. Sir, multiple sensors tripped at once. West corridor, kitchen exit, and, he swallowed hard, the second-floor landing. Amma felt her blood drain. Zara? Kwame's face changed instantly. Whatever fear he carried before turned into sheer urgency. She's upstairs, Amma whispered. We need to get to her. Kwame nodded once, decisive. Stay close. They took the stairs two at a time. Amma stumbled once, but Kwame grabbed her arm and pulled her forward. The house groaned under the storm outside, and the emergency lights flickered for a brief second, just enough to make the shadows dance. As they reached the second floor, a cold draft swept through the hallway. A window was open at the far end, curtains whipping violently. Amma's heart seized. They got in, she whispered. No, Kwame said. Someone forced it open. The window frame had marks, deep indents like it had been pried open with a tool. And on the floor, footprints. Small ones. Amma's breath caught. Zara, she was here. Kwame knelt, examining the trail. These aren't adult prints. These are hers. She must have gotten scared and ran. She wouldn't go far, Amma insisted. She'd hide. She has a few favorite spots, Kwame said. Let's check. A faint sound cut him off. A soft click. Then another. Coming from the guest room at the end of the hall. Kwame signaled the guards. They approached the door quietly, slowly. The clicking grew louder, rhythmic, persistent. Amma recognized it. It was the same pattern she heard the night of the break-in. Tap, 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 tap. Her pulse tripled. That's them. The ones who left the file. Kwame whispered, Amma, stay back. But the sound changed suddenly, shifting into a quick series of knocks on wood. Not a warning. A message. Kwame flung open the door. The room was empty. Except, Amma gasped. A small object sat on the bed, a wooden toy. Painted, worn, familiar. Kwame picked it up, turning it under the faint light. What is this? Amma's legs nearly gave out. Her voice came out cracked, shaking. It's my brother's toy. Kwame stared at her. How would they have this? Amma swallowed hard, fighting the rising panic. My mother kept it hidden. She said never to touch it unless she told me. She carried it for years. How would they have it unless her brother wasn't just alive? Unless he was closer than she ever imagined. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the dark hallway, soft, trembling, frightened. Daddy? Zara. Her voice came from behind them. Amma spun around so fast she nearly slipped. Zara stood at the corner of the hall, clutching her stuffed bear, her little face pale with fear. Kwame rushed to her and pulled her close. "Thank God. Are you hurt?" Zara shook her head quickly. "No. But, Daddy?" Her voice lowered to a whisper. "Someone was in my room." Amma felt a cold wave ripple through her. "Did you see them?" Zara nodded slowly. "He didn't talk. He just stood there." Amma's breath caught. "He..." Zara pointed toward the direction of her room. "He touched my window and then climbed out." Kwame stiffened. "What did he look like?" Zara swallowed. "Tall, wearing black, and..." She hesitated, then added, "and he had a scar across his face." Amma froze. Scar. Her mother had warned her once. If someone with a scar ever asks for you, run. Amma's knees weakened. "Kwame? I know who that is." He stared at her. "Who?" Before she could answer, the house speakers crackled to life, static hissing through every room. Then a distorted voice filled the mansion. "Amma, come outside. Or we take him first." Her blood ran cold. "Him?" Kwame repeated. "Who are they talking about?" Amma's lips parted, trembling. "My brother." The storm outside howled as the voice repeated, slower this time. "Come outside, now." The line went dead. Amma's world tilted. They didn't just find her brother. They had him. And they wanted a trade. The house fell silent after the voice faded. Not a peaceful silence, an eerie, suffocating one. Amma felt the walls closing in around her. Her brother. Her brother she never knew existed. Her brother who was supposed to be safe somewhere far away. Now someone wanted to use him as bait. Kwame pulled Zara closer, shielding her with his arm. Amma could see the rage simmering beneath his calm expression, the kind of anger born not from fear for himself, but from fear of losing the people he cared about. "They got into the system," Kwame said slowly. "That means they know this property well. Too well." Amma hugged herself, her fingers digging into her arms. "They said they'll take him first. Kwame, if they found him, that means he's alive. He's really alive." Kwame nodded, but his eyes stayed fixed on the window, where the storm hammered against the glass. "We can't just go outside. Not when we don't know who we're dealing with." Amma stepped closer to him. "You heard the voice. They won't wait. And if you walk out there," Kwame warned, "you may not come back." A guard entered the hall. "Sir, we've scanned the perimeter. There are multiple heat signatures beyond the gate. We can't confirm how many." Zara trembled, burying her face in her father's coat. Kwame whispered to her, "It's okay. You're safe with me." Amma's mind raced. Her brother, somewhere in the darkness, somewhere in the cold, possibly hurt, scared, alone. She couldn't leave him out there. She couldn't let him be the next secret buried like her mother. "Amma," Kwame said gently, "listen to me. You can't make decisions based on fear." She turned to him slowly. "This isn't fear. This is blood." Kwame didn't respond at first. He understood more than she realized. He had raised Zara alone. He knew what it meant to protect a child at any cost. He let out a long breath. "We need a plan." "No," Amma said, voice cracking. "We need to act." Kwame touched her shoulder. "You're not walking into a trap. Not while I'm breathing." A guard's radio suddenly crackled, loud enough to make everyone flinch. "Motion, north wall, unidentified." The transmission cut mid-sentence. Everyone froze. The lights flickered. Then footsteps, heavy, slow footsteps, echoed from the hallway downstairs. Zara whimpered. "Daddy." Kwame lifted her into his arms, his voice low but firm. "We move. Now." Kwame led them through the glass walkway that connected the main hall to a smaller wing of the mansion. Emergency lights glowed faintly along the floor, giving the world a ghostly hue. Snow pounded at the windows, the wind screaming like a warning. Guards surrounded them, moving in formation. Amma kept looking over her shoulder, half expecting to see a shadow slipping around the corner. As they reached the service corridor, Kwame unlocked a concealed door. It opened into a long, narrow room, a security bunker lined with metal cabinets, backup radios, encrypted equipment. Even in the dim light, the room felt safer. Amma, Kwame said, you stay in here with Zara? I'm going to. No, Amma said immediately. I'm not staying behind. Kwame stared at her for a long moment. I know you want to help, but you stepping outside right now. I wasn't going to, she said softly. Just, don't lock me away. I can't sit in here doing nothing. He exhaled. I won't lock you in. I promise. Zara tugged Amma's sleeve. Amma, who's coming for you? Amma knelt, brushing a damp curl off Zara's forehead. Someone from a long time ago, sweet girl. But nothing's going to happen to you. I swear. Zara looked relieved, then whispered, I believe you. The door to the hallway suddenly slammed shut by itself. Amma jumped to her feet. Kwame spun around. Who closed that? A guard tried the handle. Locked. From the outside. Kwame grabbed one of the backup radios. Team 2 respond. We need immediate. Static. Thick, suffocating static. The next second, the overhead lights flickered violently. Amma's heart shot to her throat. The bunker door handle rattled once. Twice. Then stopped. Zara hid behind Amma. Kwame gently pushed them behind him. For a moment, nothing. Then something slid under the door. A piece of paper. Kwame reached for it cautious. Amma's hands shook as he unfolded the note. Just 5 words. Words that made her knees weaken. Same eyes. Same blood. Hurry. Amma's throat tightened. Kwame, they're talking about me. Or Kim. Kwame clenched the paper so hard it crumpled. They're trying to force your hand. They're trying to make you walk out there. Amma didn't look away from the note. He's alive. I can feel it. Kwame's voice was low, almost a growl. And they're using him as leverage. Amma stepped back toward the door. I need to go. Kwame caught her wrist. No. I'm not asking, Amma whispered. Kwame's jaw tightened. He pulled her closer, his voice a harsh whisper. If something happens to you, they win. And if I do nothing, she replied, I lose him. The tension in the room felt like a wire pulled too tight. A sudden booming sound, like metal scraping, echoed down the hallway. Zara yelped. The emergency lights flickered again. Amma lifted the crumpled note. Kwame, they want me to go alone. They're not getting what they want, he said. Another boom. Closer. Kwame turned to the guards. Prepare evacuation route B. We're leaving through the service tunnel now. Amma shook her head fiercely. We can't run. They'll take him. We're not running, Kwame corrected. We're repositioning. Before Amma could reply, the intercom hissed again. This time the voice was calm, cold, and terrifying in its clarity. Amma, you have 10 minutes. Kwame's face hardened. Amma's heart dropped. The countdown had begun. The winter wind crawled along the streets of Maplewood Heights, rattling the window frames of the small apartment where Janelle sat at her desk, her notebook spread out like a battlefield. The glow of her lamp pooled across her worksheets, dictionaries, and handwritten practice sheets. Most teens her age spent Friday nights watching movies or scrolling through their phones. But tonight, like every night, she worked quietly, focused, steady, determined. Tomorrow was the district-wide multilingual academic showcase, the one event that had the entire school buzzing. For everyone else, it was a competition. For Janelle, it felt like a moment that could shift her entire life. The winner would earn a scholarship recommendation letter, a mentorship with a university professor, and, most important to her, a chance to prove she wasn't the girl they whispered about in the hallways. Most students knew she was smart, but none understood how deep her abilities went. They didn't know about the late nights translating documents for her mom, or helping neighbors understand rental agreements, medical instructions, or immigration paperwork. They didn't know that each of the 7 languages she spoke came from a chapter of her life filled with struggle and survival. She looked over at her mom, asleep on the couch wrapped in a blanket, exhausted after another double shift at the senior care home. Her mom always tried to stay awake to encourage her, but bills and responsibilities weighed her down. Janelle often wondered if her mom realized just how much her sacrifice fueled her. The walls were thin. She could hear the couple next door arguing softly. A baby crying down the hall. Far away, a police siren echoing through the streets. This neighborhood carried stories. Some heavy, some hopeful. She had lived in every corner of it. She returned to her notes. Spanish, fluent desde pequeña. French, polished and elegant now. Mandarin, her strongest academically. Swahili and Arabic, learned through community programs. American Sign Language, learned for her neighbor's hearing-impaired daughter. And Portuguese, picked up from working at the International Corner Store after school. 7 languages, each tied to a memory or a person she loved. Her pencil slowed as her thoughts drifted to school earlier that day. In the hallway, she had overheard a group whispering, "She's not gonna win. She's just showing off. 7 languages? You're right. She acts like she's special." Not everyone doubted her. Some believed in her, even admired her, but the voices of envy always seemed louder. But what bothered her most that day wasn't the gossip. It was what she saw. Mr. Graham, her history teacher, standing with Principal Dorsey, both speaking in low voices, both glancing toward her. She tried to ignore it at first, but something about their expressions stuck with her. Mr. Graham looked concerned. The principal looked uneasy. And when they finally noticed her watching, both men shifted uncomfortably. What? Was it about her? She couldn't shake the suspicion. Later, during after-school prep for the showcase, she saw something else, stranger this time. In the library, a man she didn't know sat at one of the tables near the staff section. Clean suit, polished shoes, official-looking folder. He wasn't from Maplewood Heights. That much she knew immediately. He watched her for a moment before quickly looking away. Who was he? Why was he here? When she asked the librarian, the woman hesitated before saying, "He's visiting from the district office." But even she didn't seem convinced by her own words. All of it, whispers, glances, the mysterious stranger, swirled in Janelle's mind now as she worked. She took a deep breath. Focus. She opened her notebook and practiced reading a passage out loud in Mandarin. Her tone was steady, her pronunciation sharp and confident. She switched to French, then to Spanish, letting her brain shift its gears effortlessly. Most people struggled learning one language. For her, it felt natural, smooth, like slipping into different versions of the same rhythm. Still, tonight she felt something she rarely experienced. Fear. Not fear of losing. Fear of what might be waiting for her at the showcase. Her mom stirred on the couch. "Honey, you should sleep soon," she murmured without opening her eyes. "I will," Janelle whispered back. But she knew she wouldn't, not yet. She reached for her phone and opened a message from her friend DeAndre. "You ready for tomorrow? Heard the judges are bringing some big people this year. Maybe even someone from a news station." Her stomach tightened. A news station? That meant her performance could become public, far more public than she wanted. She didn't mind showing her abilities, but the idea of cameras, reporters, strangers digging into her life? That terrified her. Especially given her past. Especially given the records sealed when she was 12. The ones her new school didn't know much about. The ones her mom prayed would stay buried forever. She tapped her pencil against the desk, trying to calm her nerves. Her phone buzzed again. This time the message was from an unknown number. "We need to talk before the event tomorrow. It's important. Do not ignore this. GD. GD. Her breath hitched. Principal Dorsey. Why would he text her directly? And why did his message sound like a warning? She stared at the screen for a long moment before typing back. Is something wrong? The 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Appeared again, then vanished. No reply. Her heart thudded. She stood up, pacing the room. Questions spun in her head. Was she in trouble? Was the school withdrawing her from the competition? Did someone complain? Did the district office find something from her past? She swallowed hard. Her past wasn't exactly clean. Not in a criminal way, she had done nothing wrong, but the situation she and her mom escaped, that was complicated. Messy. Dangerous. And if it resurfaced now, everything could fall apart. Her mom shifted again, whispering in her sleep. Something like a name. A name Janelle hadn't heard her speak in years. A shadow passed across her thoughts. No, she wouldn't let fear win. She returned to her desk, opened another practice sheet, and forced herself to refocus. But her hands shook slightly now. Her mind wouldn't settle. She tried again, reading a paragraph in Arabic. But halfway through, her voice cracked. She rubbed her eyes. Tomorrow was supposed to be her moment. Now it felt like a storm was building around her. She checked her phone again. Still no reply from the principal. But one new notification blinked at the top of the screen. Security alert. Your school portal account was accessed from a new device. Her lungs froze. Someone was in her account. Someone was looking at her files. Someone was digging. And her school records, recent ones, linked directly to the sealed documents her mom worked so hard to hide. Her pulse raced as she stared at the notification, the weight of it pressing on her chest. Tomorrow wasn't just a showcase anymore. Tomorrow might expose everything. And someone she didn't know who wanted it to happen. She felt the room grow colder, the silence heavier, as a single thought whispered through her mind. Someone is coming for me, and I don't know why. Morning sunlight pushed through the thin curtains of the apartment, casting soft stripes of gold across the living room floor. But there was nothing calm about the way Janelle felt when she opened her eyes. She hadn't slept much. Every time she drifted off, her mind dragged her back to the notification she saw only hours earlier. Security alert. Your school portal account was accessed from a new device. She sat up slowly, pushing away the blanket. Her mom was already gone, another early shift. On the kitchen counter sat a note written in her mom's familiar handwriting. Good luck today. I'm proud of you no matter what. The words meant everything, but they also twisted the tension inside her chest. Her mom believed in her with unwavering certainty. She needed today to go well, not just for herself but for them both. She got ready carefully, choosing a simple navy sweater and jeans. Comfortable, clean, nothing flashy. She tied her braids into a neat bun and slipped her notebooks into her bag. Each movement felt mechanical, like she was preparing for a test she didn't fully understand. By the time she reached Maplewood Heights High, students were pouring into the building with nervous excitement. Posters for the multilingual academic showcase hung everywhere. Teachers stood near the entrance greeting participants, offering encouraging nods. But the moment she stepped inside, her nerves sharpened. Whispers, glances, strange looks she couldn't decipher. Were they about the competition, or about her? She spotted DeAndre waving at her near the lockers. "Jay, you ready?" he shouted over the loud chatter. She forced a smile. "Trying to be." He lifted an eyebrow. "You sure? You look like you're about to pass out." "Did you get anything weird last night?" she asked quietly. "Like what?" She hesitated. She trusted DeAndre, but she wasn't ready to spill everything. "Not yet." "Never mind," she muttered. He didn't push. Instead, he nudged her shoulder. "You'll kill it today. Seriously. I saw the practice list, they're making the rounds random. You might even go last. Best spot to impress everyone." Normally that would thrill her. Going last meant leaving the strongest impression. But today, it only deepened her unease. "Come on," DeAndre said. "Principal Dorsey wants all the contestants in the auditorium for check-in." Her stomach flipped. The principal. The mysterious late-night text from him still sat unanswered on her phone. They walked together through the hallway and into the dimly lit auditorium, where the stage crew was finishing last-minute adjustments. Teachers held clipboards. Judges sat reviewing documents. Students rehearsed quietly in corners. But there, near the front row, stood Principal Dorsey. His posture was stiff. His eyes kept scanning the room like he was waiting for something, or someone. And when he saw Janelle, his shoulders tensed noticeably. He excused himself from a conversation with a staff member and motioned for her to follow him toward the side hallway. Her pulse quickened. DeAndre started to follow until the principal stopped him politely. "Just her, please." Janelle followed the principal down the quiet hallway, past the empty offices and vending machines humming softly. He opened the door to the small conference room and gestured for her to enter. The door closed behind them. His expression was uneasy, the kind of look adults wore when they were trying to hide something but doing a terrible job of it. "Sir, you texted me last night," she began. He nodded, running a hand over his forehead. "Yes, because we need to talk before you go on that stage today." She swallowed. "About what?" He exhaled slowly, choosing his words carefully. "Your account was accessed last night. And not by you." Her heart dropped. "I know. I got the alert. I called the district IT office," he continued. "They confirmed it was not a system glitch. Someone used administrative back-end access to look at your profile. Profile? She repeated. You mean my grades? His hesitation chilled her. No, not your grades. Your archived records. She stiffened. Those files are sealed. Yes, and they're supposed to stay that way unless you or your legal guardian gives permission. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. But someone with high-level clearance overrode the lock. The air around her turned heavy. Why would anyone want to read those records? She whispered. I don't know, he admitted. But I'm afraid it's connected to a visitor who arrived yesterday. Her eyes widened. The man in the library. You saw him. So he wasn't from the district office? The principal shook his head. No. He said he was, but I checked. No one by that name is employed there. She stepped back, her mind racing. So who is he? I'm trying to find out, the principal said carefully. But until I do, I need you to be cautious today. Her throat tightened. Am I in danger? I can't say that, he answered honestly, but something is happening behind the scenes. Something unusual. And given your history, I didn't want you blindsided. Her legs felt weak. She sat down slowly. I thought everything was behind us, she whispered. My mom and I, we changed our names. She stopped herself. Too much. Too fast. Principal Dorsey lifted a hand gently. I don't need details. I only need to know whether you want to continue with the showcase today. If you choose to back out, I'll tell the judges you're sick. Back out? The words echoed painfully. This was her moment to shine. Her chance to prove herself. Her chance to earn opportunities her family desperately needed. I can't quit, she said, her voice firmer than she expected. I worked for this. He studied her face, clearly torn between concern and respect. Then I'll do everything in my power to protect you, he said finally. But if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you come straight to me. She nodded, though her hands trembled slightly. The principal stood, preparing to return to the auditorium. But before he reached the door, he paused. One more thing, he said without turning around. Whoever accessed your records, they didn't just open them. She leaned forward. What do you mean? They downloaded them. The room spun slightly as the implications hit her like a wave. Downloaded. Copied. Taken. By someone she didn't know. For reasons she couldn't imagine. Her voice cracked. Sir, what if they use it against me? He turned slowly, his expression grim. That's what I'm afraid of. He opened the door. Stay close where teachers can see you. I'll be in the front row the entire event. Then he walked out, leaving her frozen in place. Her heart pounded. Her sealed past, in a stranger's hands. Her future on the line. Her performance only hours away. As she stood to follow the principal back into the hallway, something inside her whispered the darkest possibility yet. Whoever downloaded her records didn't do it out of curiosity. They did it because they had a plan. And today, they intended to use it. The auditorium buzzed with the kind of excitement that made the air feel charged. Students in polished outfits practiced lines under their breath. Teachers guided parents to their seats. Judges reviewed documents with stern concentration. Bright stage lights shone down on the polished wooden floor, casting long reflections that trembled with movement. But for Janelle, the entire room felt slightly tilted, like something invisible was lurking beneath the surface. She walked in slowly, scanning faces. She didn't know what she expected. A stranger standing in the shadows? Someone watching her with suspicious eyes? But everyone looked normal enough. Normal, except for the fact that her nerves were wound so tight she could barely breathe. DeAndre jogged up to her. Hey, where'd the principal take you? You disappeared. He just needed to talk to me about something, she said. Her voice was steady, but she avoided eye contact. You good? Not even close. Yeah, she lied. He studied her for a moment but didn't push. They posted the order, he said, pointing to a board near the stage. You're the closer. Last slot. Her pulse spiked. The grand finale. The moment every judge would remember. Normally she'd be thrilled. But now it felt like the target on her back just doubled in size. As she approached the stage list, she noticed several students staring at her with narrowed eyes. Not the usual competitive looks. Something sharper. Something that made her skin prickle. One girl whispered to another. A boy stepped back slightly when she passed, like he wasn't sure he should stand near her. Why were they acting like that? She checked the list. Her name was indeed last. She was representing the school in the Multilingual Showcase's final performance slot. 7 languages. 7 chances to show the brilliance she worked so hard for. She should feel confident. Instead, she felt watched. The auditorium doors swung open suddenly, letting in a rush of cold air. Everyone turned. A man stepped inside. Tall. Dark coat. Briefcase. Sunglasses even though they were indoors. Janelle's blood ran cold. It wasn't the same man from the library, but something about him radiated the same unsettling energy. The same sense of quiet authority. He walked straight to the judges' table and shook hands with them. Whatever he whispered made their expressions shift. Confusion, surprise, curiosity. Then their eyes turned toward her. Her stomach nodded. Great, DeAndre muttered. Another fancy official. Why do important people suddenly care about our school? She didn't answer. Because she already knew this wasn't normal. A voice crackled through the speakers. Students, take your seats. The showcase begins in 5 minutes. Her legs carried her to the front row with the other competitors. From there she could see Principal Dorsey, seated off to the side. His eyes met hers briefly, and she recognized the same tension from earlier. He was worried. As the first contestant walked onto the stage, the lights dimmed and the room quieted. Normally she would watch closely, learning from the others. But today her focus kept drifting around the auditorium. Second row, was that someone pointing at her? By the aisle, 2 students whispering while glancing her way? Near the judges, another unfamiliar adult had slipped in, clipboard in hand. She tightened her grip on her notebook. Everything felt wrong. By the third contestant, a wave of murmurs rippled through the back of the room. She turned subtly to look. 2 staff members were huddled around a laptop near the sound booth. One of them kept glancing at her. A spark of fear ignited in her chest. Jay. DeAndre whispered. You look like you're about to sprint out of here. Something's happening, she whispered back. Like what? She couldn't explain, not without sounding paranoid. Not without revealing secrets she wasn't ready for him to know. Instead, she forced her eyes forward and locked her attention on the next student performing. The girl spoke confidently in Spanish, earning applause. But the moment she stepped off stage, 2 judges began whispering urgently to the man in the dark coat. One of them glanced at a document in front of them, something thick, sealed with a clip. Her breath caught. Her records? But how? Only someone with access could print them. Someone who had her file. Someone who downloaded it last night. The 5th contestant finished. The 6th began. Applause rose and faded, But the room felt tenser with every passing moment. Then, halfway through a boy's German presentation, her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message. From an unknown number. Her hands shook as she opened it. Stop pretending. We know who you are. A rush of heat and cold swept through her body at once. Another message followed instantly. When you go on stage, everything will come out. Her breath hitched so sharply she nearly dropped her phone. She turned her head, scanning the crowd. Who sent it? Where were they sitting? How many people knew? Her vision blurred for a second. DeAndre leaned close. Jay? You're pale. I need air, she whispered. Before he could stop her, she stood and stepped quietly into the aisle, just far enough to breathe. She didn't want attention, but she also couldn't stay frozen in her seat. Principal Dorsey noticed immediately. He stepped out of his row and approached her quietly. Are you all right? He asked, keeping his voice low. No, she whispered. Someone messaged me. They're threatening to reveal everything. His jaw tightened. Show me. She handed him the phone. His face darkened with concern. This is worse than I thought, he said. They're trying to rattle you. They want you off balance. Sir, who? Why me? Why now? I don't know, he admitted, but someone has gone to great lengths to dig into your past. And based on the people who just walked in, it's not just a student or staff member. Her heartbeat thundered. What do I do? He paused, thinking fast. You have 2 choices, he said quietly. Walk away now, or walk on that stage and show them they can't break you. But what if they reveal everything? she asked, voice trembling. His next words were quiet, but strong. Then you show them you're not afraid. She looked toward the stage. The seventh contestant finishing. The applause rising. Her turn coming closer and closer. Her life felt like it was tightening into a single moment. A moment she suddenly wasn't sure she was ready for. Principal Dorsey gently placed her phone back into her hand. Stay behind the curtain, he said. I need to check something. What? There's someone here I need to confront. Her breath caught. Who? He didn't answer. He walked swiftly toward the judge's table, straight toward the man in the dark coat. And as he reached him, the stranger turned, looked at her, smiled. A slow, knowing smile. Her blood turned cold. The stranger's smile lingered like a shadow that refused to fade. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't polite. It carried a message, one meant only for her. A message that said, I know something you don't want anyone else to know. From behind the curtain, Janelle watched Principal Dorsey stride straight toward the man. Her breath caught as the two exchanged stiff words. She couldn't hear what they were saying, but the tension twisted the air around them. The stranger didn't lose the smile. Not once. He kept glancing toward her as though he enjoyed her fear. Her pulse thudded painfully in her ears. A stage crew member tapped her shoulder. You're up after the next presenter. Stay close. Her voice barely came out. Okay. She gripped her notebook tighter, praying her shaking hands weren't noticeable. A few teachers stood nearby, chatting quietly. Contestants lined up behind her, whispering last-minute rehearsals. From the main stage, applause erupted as the student before her finished. Any other day she would have been hyping herself up, running through transitions between languages, repeating affirmations her mom taught her, closing her eyes and visualizing the judges impressed, the audience captivated. Today she could barely keep her thoughts from racing. Who was that man? What did he know? Why did he have her sealed records? A soft voice broke through her spiral. Janelle? She turned. It was her English teacher, Mrs. Rhodes. A kind woman with warm eyes who always encouraged her writing. Mrs. Rhodes frowned when she noticed how pale she looked. You seem nervous, she said gently. The understatement nearly made her laugh. I'm okay, Janelle said. Another lie. She was getting good at them. Mrs. Rhodes reached out and squeezed her shoulder. Take a deep breath. You have a gift and today you get to share it. Don't let fear steal your moment. The words soothed her slightly, even if they couldn't erase everything else. Behind Mrs. Rhodes, the principal stepped away from the stranger and walked quickly toward the side of the stage. His expression was tight, unsettled. He caught her eyes and discreetly motioned for her to stay put. Then he disappeared through a side exit. He looked shaken. A chill crawled up her spine. The final contestant before her began their performance. A boy delivering a trilingual piece with dramatic flair. The audience clapped along to his rhythm. Judges smiled. Cameras recorded. But Janelle couldn't focus. Her mind kept replaying the principal's expression, the stranger's smile, the late-night message threatening to expose her. She took a slow breath, then another. When she glanced out at the audience again, she froze. The man in the dark coat was no longer sitting with the judges. He was gone. Her stomach dropped. Where did he go? Why now? She crept closer to the curtain gap, scanning the rows. Parents, students, staff. But no sign of the stranger. Then suddenly, a voice behind her. Looking for me? She spun around so fast she nearly slipped. And there he was, standing just a few feet away, inside the backstage area, somehow past the restricted zone. His coat brushed the floor as he stepped closer, hands tucked in his pockets like he belonged there. Her breath stopped. How did you? He tilted his head. You're very difficult to reach, you know? She took a step back instinctively. You shouldn't be back here. His smile widened. Oh, but I should. And I will be because what I have concerns you. Only you. Her throat tightened. Who are you? She whispered. Someone who's been following your progress for years, he said calmly. Someone who's known about you far longer than you realize. Her heart hammered. He took another step, lowering his voice. You think secrets stay buried forever? They don't. Not yours. I don't know what you're talking about, she said shakily. Oh, I think you do, he replied. You changed your name, moved across states, tried to disappear. But people don't just forget what happened. Her legs weakened. She had never told anyone at this school about her past. Not even her closest friends. Not even Principal Dorsey. How do you know who I am? She demanded. He smirked. Because I was asked to find you. By who? He paused, clearly enjoying the moment. But before he answered, a burst of applause filled the auditorium. The contestant before her had finished. She was up next. A backstage assistant rushed over. 5 seconds. Get to position. The stranger stepped back, hands raised in mock politeness. Break a leg, he murmured. I'll be watching. She stared at him, fear clawing up her chest. Stay away from me, she whispered. He only smiled. Then he slipped into the curtain shadows, disappearing as quickly as he'd arrived. The assistant ushered her toward the stage entrance. You ready? Let's go. She felt dizzy. All the languages she practiced, all the transitions, all the confidence. It all trembled beneath the weight of what just happened. Yet as they called her name on the microphone, something inside her steadied, not because the fear was gone, but because she knew she couldn't back down. The audience erupted in applause. Teachers waved supportively. Cameras pointed at the stage. Her heartbeat thundered as she stepped into the bright lights. Stage lights always felt warm during rehearsals. Today they felt like they were burning straight through her chest. She reached the center, forcing a calm expression, though her hands shook behind the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer said, our final presenter, Janelle Williams. The applause swelled again. She took one last breath, then placed her notebook on the stand. Her voice was steady, at least at first. But just as she began her opening sentence, just as the words flowed out in her first fluent language, a sharp gasp came from somewhere in the audience. Then another. Whispers spread like a wave. Dozens of eyes shifted away from her, toward the auditorium doors. Someone was entering the room. Someone familiar. Someone she never expected to see again. Someone from the very past she tried to escape. Her entire body locked in place. The stranger's warning echoed in her mind. You think secrets stay buried forever? The person stepped forward into the light, and her world tilted. The rain wouldn't stop. It hammered against the windows of Daniel's study like a warning he didn't yet understand. A storm had rolled in from nowhere, flooding the mansion's courtyard, rattling the trees and turning the night into a restless, trembling darkness. Daniel paced the room, unable to shake the heaviness in his chest. He had been waiting for an answer from Madame Harper, waiting for a sign, waiting for something that would tell him if saving Amma and little Kofi had been the right decision. Across the hall, Amma sat quietly with Kofi asleep on her lap, listening to the thunder but refusing to admit how afraid she was. The mansion was beautiful, safe, but it wasn't hers. And she still didn't know if she truly belonged here, or if all of this was temporary kindness. A sudden knock echoed through the house. Not gentle, not polite, urgent. Daniel froze. Amma looked up sharply. One of the guards hurried in, drenched from the storm. Sir, there's someone at the gate. Daniel's heart tightened. Who? The guard hesitated. A woman. She says she has a message for Amma and the boy. Amma's breath caught. A message? For her? From who? Everyone she knew was either gone, in trouble, or had abandoned her. Daniel stepped forward. Bring her to the porch. I'll talk to her. Amma stood too. Please, let me come. It could be about my mother's belongings, or my brother back home. They walked to the covered veranda, wind slicing across the open yard. The guard escorted a woman forward, older, soaked, trembling, clutching a plastic bag as though her life depended on it. When she lifted her face, Amma gasped. May Mefua? The old neighbor from their former compound. The woman who used to give Kofi leftover rice. She looked exhausted, terrified, and desperate. Amma, the woman whispered. I walked here in the rain because someone is looking for you. Daniel moved closer, muscles tightening. Who? She swallowed hard. A man who said he knew your mother. He came 3 nights ago, asking questions, searching for something she left behind. Then she held out the plastic bag. He told me to give you this. And he said, your life may depend on what's inside. Amma's hands shook as she reached for the bag. Daniel stepped behind her, gently steadying her shoulders. Thunder rolled again, louder this time, as if the sky itself knew something dangerous had just entered their world. Inside the bag was a notebook, tied with a piece of red string. Amma stared at it, recognizing it instantly. It's my mother's. Daniel's voice dropped. Amma, what did she write in it? Amma opened her mouth, but no sound came, because she already knew. This wasn't just a message. It was the beginning of the truth she had feared her whole life. Amma sat on the couch in Daniel's dimly lit study, the storm still growling outside as if guarding the truth inside the notebook. Her fingers hovered over the red string tied around it, her mother's neat knot, the same one she used to tie Kofi's school lunches. Daniel knelt beside her, close enough for comfort, far enough not to pressure her. Whenever you're ready, he said softly. Amma nodded, though her breath trembled. She pulled the string loose. The pages smelled like old paper and shea butter. Oh, childhood. Lost. The first page held her mother's handwriting, steady but rushed. If Amma is reading this, then I didn't survive to tell her myself. Amma's chest tightened. Daniel gently placed a hand over hers. Take your time. She continued. I was never supposed to raise my children alone. Their father, he didn't abandon us. He disappeared. Not by choice. Not by death. But because powerful people wanted something he discovered. Amma blinked. My father? But we were told he died before I turned 2. Daniel leaned closer. Amma? Do you think she meant he's still alive? Amma didn't answer, not yet. She flipped the page, her hands trembling harder. The next lines hit like lightning. Your father uncovered a secret land worth millions stolen from his family decades ago. You wanted to fight for it. They silenced him. They threatened us. I ran with you. But they never stopped searching. Daniel's jaw tightened. This explains why that man is looking for you. They think you have something. Amma nodded slowly. Something my mother hid. Her vision blurred with tears. All this time, she carried this alone. Thunder boomed, rattling the glass. Daniel placed a steady hand on her back. Amma, listen to me. You're safe here. Whatever this is, we'll face it together. But before she could respond, Kofi appeared at the doorway, sleepy, rubbing his eyes. Sister, why are you crying? Amma quickly wiped her face. It's nothing, Kofi. Just reading something from Mama. Kofi walked toward her, dragging his teddy bear. Mama wrote me letters too? Amma froze. Daniel straightened. What do you mean, Kofi? The little boy pointed at the notebook. Before Mama got very sick, she told me there's something for me in her blue cloth bag. She said I should only open it when a kind rich man takes care of us. Amma's eyes widened. The same words written in the notebook, she whispered. Daniel felt a chill run through him. Kofi, where's the bag now? Kofi smiled innocently. Under my bed. Amma shot to her feet. Bring it, Kofi. Quickly. He ran off. The rain stopped abruptly, the silence sharp and eerie. A minute later he returned with a small blue Kent pattern bag. Amma unzipped it with trembling hands. Inside was a flash drive, old, dusty, labeled only with her mother's initials. Daniel exhaled slowly. Amma, whatever is on that drive, could reveal everything. Amma clutched it to her chest. Her mother wasn't running from poverty. She was running from power. And now that power was coming for Amma. The truth her mother died protecting was finally in her hands. But so was the danger. Rainwater dripped steadily from the gutters outside Daniel's home as he escorted Amma and Kofi into his office. A secure room with reinforced doors and frosted windows. It wasn't paranoia. It was necessity. Too many pieces of the truth were falling into place, and each one made the situation more dangerous. Amma held the flash drive like it could burn her fingers. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Daniel powered up his encrypted laptop, the screen casting a cold glow across the room. You don't have to watch, he said gently. I do. Amma steadied her breath. I've spent my whole life in the dark. I'm done being afraid. Kofi sat curled up on the couch, clutching his teddy bear, watching with wide, curious eyes. Amma handed the drive to Daniel. He inserted it. For a moment, nothing. Then, files appeared. Dozens of them. Land deeds. Photographs. Old maps. Scanned letters. Audio recordings. And one folder labeled, Evidence, for AMA. Amma's stomach tightened. Daniel clicked it open. Inside were 3 video files and 1 PDF. The first video loaded. Amma gasped. Her father's face filled the screen. Alive. Not dead. Alive. Older than the last photo she had seen, but unmistakable. Deep-set eyes. Sharp jawline. A tired but warm smile. He sat in a dim room, probably hiding. Amma, he said, voice shaky. My brilliant little girl. If you're watching this, then something has happened to your mother. And I am still missing. Amma covered her mouth, tears spilling instantly. Kofi sat up straighter. Is that? She nodded, unable to speak. Her father continued. I uncovered something big, too big. Our family land in Louisiana was stolen generations ago. The documents proving it were buried, falsified, hidden. I found the originals. Someone powerful wanted them destroyed. They wanted me gone. And they won. Daniel's jaw clenched. This is enough to bring down entire companies, maybe public officials. The man on the screen exhaled shakily. Your mother was the strongest woman I ever knew. She protected you both. She knew they would come for her. And one day, they might come for you. His eyes softened. Trust only those who prove themselves, not those who promise. The screen went black. Amma didn't move for a full minute. Her world felt like it was spinning. Daniel touched her arm lightly. Amma, this is a turning point. This is evidence people could kill to hide. Amma whispered, we need to show someone. Someone who will help us. Daniel hesitated. I know someone, a federal attorney I went to school with. Someone clean. Someone I trust. But going to her means exposing everything and risking everything. Before Amma could answer, the second video began automatically. This time her mother. Weak, lying in a hospital bed. Voice soft but fierce. Amma, my baby girl. If you're watching this, protect your brother. He has documents hidden in his teddy bear, papers your father entrusted to him as a baby. He doesn't know they're there. Amma's heart stopped. Kofi hugged his teddy closer. Mama said my bear was special, he whispered. Amma closed her eyes. So much was happening around us, and we had no idea. Her mother continued. Run to someone kind. Someone with influence but not greed. Let them help you. And Amma, her voice cracked. Never think you were abandoned. Your father fought for you. I protected you. But now, it's your turn to finish what we began. The video ended. The room was heavy with meaning, fear, hope, all tangled into one. Then, the third video opened on its own. A different man appeared. A face Amma recognized instantly. The man who had been following them. The one who cornered them at the school. The one searching for her mother's secrets. He leaned toward the camera, eyes cold. If you two are watching this, then the flash drive has been found. His smile was thin. And that means I'm coming. Amma felt her entire body go cold. Daniel stood abruptly. That's enough. Close it. But the man kept talking. You can't run forever. Your mother barely did. I will finish what I started. The screen went black. For a full second, no one moved. Then, a sharp knock at the front door. Once, twice, 3 times. Daniel's eyes widened. Amma grabbed Kofi's hand. More knocking, harder now. Someone was outside. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Kofi whispered, Is it him? Amma swallowed hard. I don't know. But deep down, she feared she already did. And this time, they weren't running. They were trapped. The pounding at the front door didn't stop. Rainwater from earlier had slowed to a drizzle, but the night's tension clung to the walls of the mansion like a living thing. Daniel crouched beside Amma and Kofi, whispering instructions. Stay low. Stay quiet. Don't open the door for anyone until I say so. Amma clutched Kofi tightly. Her fingers still tingled from holding the flash drive, the key to her family's past and their future. Every nerve in her body screamed that danger was closer than ever, yet she also felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. Daniel crept to a window overlooking the driveway. Through the frosted glass, a shadow lingered, someone tall moving slowly. The stranger's posture was deliberate, patient. Calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that made fear twist in your stomach. It's him, Amma whispered, barely audible. The one from the video. Daniel nodded, his expression grim. He's after what your mother and father fought to protect. But tonight, we have the upper hand. We just have to make the right choice. Amma's eyes shifted to the flash drive. It wasn't just evidence. It was power. Power to expose corruption, reclaim what was stolen, and honor her mother's memory. But it could also put them directly in harm's way. Kofi tugged her sleeve. Amma, I'm scared. Her heart ached at his words. I know, baby. But we're together. And together, we'll be okay. A sudden noise outside, the crunch of shoes on wet gravel, made all three freeze. Daniel moved silently to a side door that led to a secure escape path. We can get out through here. Go now and I'll lead him away. Amma hesitated. If they ran, the flash drive, and everything it contained, could fall into the wrong hands. But if they stayed, the danger outside might be impossible to stop. The stranger's voice carried through the mansion doors, smooth, confident, cruel. I know you're in there. I know what you have. Give it to me and no one gets hurt. Amma swallowed. His words weren't a threat. They were a promise. Daniel looked at her. Amma, it's your choice. You take the drive and run, or you face him here with me. She clutched it tighter. Every memory of her mother, every sacrifice, every lesson of courage surged inside her. This wasn't just about survival. This was about reclaiming the truth. I stay, she said firmly. I can't run. Not when I have the chance to finish what my parents started. Daniel's eyes softened. Then we do this together. The front door burst open. Rain-soaked and imposing, the stranger stepped inside, eyes glinting with a mix of menace and recognition. Daniel positioned himself protectively in front of Amma and Kofi. I told you, child, the man said, voice icy, you can't hide from your past. Amma squared her shoulders. You were wrong about one thing. I'm not hiding. And I'm not afraid. The stranger's eyes narrowed. For the first time there was hesitation. He hadn't expected resistance. Not this kind. Not from a girl who appeared so small, so fragile. Daniel took a step forward. This ends tonight. Leave now or face consequences you won't survive. There was silence, heavy and taut. Then he smiled again, slow and unsettling. But it was different this time. Calculated. Respectful. You've grown stronger than I imagined, he said. Your mother would be proud. Perhaps it's time for a new arrangement. One where the past doesn't haunt the present. Amma tilted her head, heart hammering. What do you mean? The stranger's smile faded. He held up a hand, not threatening, but offering. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to ensure the secrets your family protected are finally used wisely. The flash drive, it belongs to you. But you must promise to protect its contents responsibly. There are powerful forces who will not hesitate to take it from you if they learn you have it. Amma's hands trembled, but she nodded. I promise. The man stepped back toward the door. Good. You've earned a rare chance, one your parents fought for even if they never told you. Daniel exhaled, lowering his guard slightly. You're leaving? Yes, the man said, pausing. For now. But remember, the world is watching and some shadows never fully disappear. With that, he vanished into the night, leaving behind only the faint echo of rain and the adrenaline-fueled silence of the mansion. Amma sank into Daniel's arms, holding Kofi close. Relief, fear, and triumph coursed through her all at once. Daniel smiled softly. You did it. You faced your fear, and you didn't run. Amma clutched the flash drive to her chest. This is only the beginning. But I feel ready. Kofi yawned, rubbing his eyes. So, Does this mean my mama is a hero? Amma laughed softly, tears sliding down her cheeks. Yes, Kofi. And now, we carry her courage forward. Outside, the storm had passed. The first rays of dawn crept across the horizon, painting the sky in gold and pink. The mansion, once filled with tension and fear, now held the quiet promise of a new day, one where Amma could reclaim her family's legacy, embrace her gifts, and finally live without hiding. She looked at Daniel, then at Kofi, then at the flash drive in her hand. Everything her parents had protected, every secret, every danger, every sacrifice, it had all led to this moment. Amma smiled, a smile that was fearless, determined, and full of hope. The world had tested her, but she had chosen courage. And that choice had changed everything.